Today's episode of The Running Wine Mom is sponsored by Brittany Breen Photography. Capturing moments that last a lifetime, that's what Brittany does best. Whether it's the joy of a growing family, the magic of maternity, or the love in a newborn's first days, Brittany's expertise turns fleeting moments into forever memories. Serving the tri-state area, she brings a personal touch to every session, making you feel at home in front of the camera. Book your session today at brittanybreen.com and let your story shine through every photo. Welcome back to the Running Wine Mom podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Cieslinski, aka the Running Wine Mom. Today's episode is one I've been so excited to bring you. As moms, we know that pregnancy and parenting are journeys full of questions, challenges, and let's be honest, a little chaos. But that's where today's guests come in. They're here to make that journey a little easier, a lot more fun, and incredibly empowering. Joining me today are Samantha and Juliana, the co-founders of the Prego Expo, a must-attend event for parents to be. If you've ever wanted one place to discover the latest baby products, connect with other parent experts, or just feel like part of a community that gets it, this is it. And let me tell you, they've taken things to the next level with their spin-off event, the Create Her, which I had the chance to attend last year in New York City. It's all about creating and empowering women, and I can't wait to hear more about it. So without further ado, let's welcome Samantha and Juliana. Welcome, ladies.
Hi. Hi. Thanks for having us.
Yes, I'm so excited. And I just loved your event last year. It was amazing. I met so many people there and just learned so much. So you are doing wonderful things for women everywhere.
That's our goal. So I'm glad we did it. We achieved it.
Yes.
One Prego all the time.
Yeah, I love it. So we get into that. To start each episode, we have our wine, and win of the week segment. That is where we share our favorite bottle of wine, then about something that's been bothering us, and celebrate our recent victories. So grab a glass, take a deep breath, and let's get started. So ladies, what is your WINE of the week?
So today we're drinking Prosecco.
Ooh, I wish I was joining you in that. I did have some orange juice earlier.
Same thing. The mocktail version.
Add a little club soda in it. You can't tell the difference, right? Well, cheers.
I think so. My win for the week, I think it's like a team win because we were just discussing it, is our New York event is fully packed with exhibitors. We're sold out of expo booths, so we're trying to squeeze more in. So that's kind of our wine too, because we want to add as many people as we can, but we're limited on space.
I love that. I met so many amazing people last year. I'm actually next week going up to New York to celebrate Lucy Tomei from Bebe Foodie. She was an expo. I don't know if she'll be there this year, but she's launching her app next week. And so I got to interview her and a lot of other women who just
She's incredible, and she will be in New York. And yes, we got the invite, and I wish we could go up there as well and celebrate with her. Lucy is amazing. We've known her for a little while now and knew her throughout her last pregnancy. She was just expecting not too long ago and had her baby, and now she's got that incredible app, and she's an amazing.
Yeah, I loved learning about her. So thank you for connecting us.
Definitely. Well, that's what Prego Expo is about, is not just, especially for the families and the content creators, of course, but a lot of it is just connecting with those people that are actually there to show you, and bring you those types of resources.
Yeah, for sure. And, as I mentioned, like I'm a teacher, so networking isn't really a part of teaching in a way, but since I've been in the content creation space, it's like, how do I network myself? How do I talk about myself? And I just have to really thank you guys for giving me a lot of confidence. When I first started walking around the expo, I was very scared. And by the end, I had like so much confidence in just going up and talking to people and really getting to know them. And I feel like that's taken me through the whole year. So that was really helpful for not only all the other stuff, but just literally my confidence was boosted from that event.
Yay, we love that. That's what we hope. That's what Creator was designed for. And Prego Expo was designed to build confidence for our expectant moms as well.
I love that. So the Running Wine Mom, we talk a little fitness. What is your favorite way to stay active?
So right now, my favorite way to stay active is I love to walk. So I try to go on a 2-miler every day.
Love that.
Sometimes I incorporate my kids and make them come and join me. And sometimes I just like to put my AirPods in and just kind of
float off into a podcast or some music.
Awesome. And how about you, Samantha?
I do a few different things. I love hot yoga is probably my favorite. And then I do Pilates. So I try and do those each like one
Oh,
day a
love
week.
Pilates.
Yeah. But it's hard because you have to leave the house to go do
Mhm.
it and it just takes some time.
It does.
So I'm like one day a week at least I have to either do Pilates or hot yoga. And then I do a lot of gym workouts,
Awesome.
going back to my COVID roots where you had to work out in the gym. I just
Yeah,
stopped doing that ever since.
I love that. Awesome. And so, how does maintaining your own fitness routine contribute to your understanding of the relationship between mental health and fitness?
It's a real connection. Because I know that when I had surgery and I was kind of out for a while without being able to do any kind of physical fitness, it definitely messes with your head.
Hmm.
I think fitness for me provides a lot of like mental clarity. And it's just kind of a way to just kind of escape a little bit.
For sure.
I think as moms, it's hard to get that me time. So I feel like going and working out is my me time. And
Hmm.
I feel like it's important for my kids to see that I take that me time and that I'm taking care of myself.
That's wonderful. All right, so let's get into the Prego Expo. Samantha, let's start with the big question. What inspired you both to create this event? Was there a specific moment or experience that kind of lit the spark for you?
Yeah, so it kind of came about after my first pregnancy. When I got pregnant with my daughter, I was completely overwhelmed. Juliana was the first person besides my husband that I went to
Oh,
and told her I was pregnant. So she helped me find a good OBGYN. She helped me with my baby registry. When I walked into a baby store, I was like completely overwhelmed. I
it's
didn't even put
overwhelming.
a baby carrier on my registry. So she was my go to partner. When my daughter came, we started coming up with all these like fun Shark Tank ideas.
I love that.
And Prego Expo came about one night at a spaghetti dinner, and I went to go put my baby to bed. And I thought about it and I came out and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go tell Juliana. And I told her about it. And she's like, this is such a great idea. And we named it Prego Expo that night. And the next day we called each other and we just like have been running ever since.
Great. That's great. So, Juliana, you were friends prior to this, but what's the secret to working so well together as co-founders? Because it's a huge undertaking and I'm sure very stressful, but maintaining a great relationship is very important in any business. So, how do you what's the secret for that?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is communication, obviously. And Sam and I are very like different in a lot of ways, but our differences are like we're very yin and yang.
Hmm.
And so I think that that is very helpful when it comes to a working and a friendship relationship, because you have to remember like we're not just family, but we're friends and we're business partners. So it's kind of a tricky trio to be in. But I think that she and I complement each other in very unique ways. Things that I struggle with, really excels in, and I think vice versa. And I think that we are really, really good at communicating with one another and really hearing the other person, as opposed to, sometimes I can be like a little stubborn, but I know that, I've learned a lot with being able to kind of manage that relationship and understanding, and both of us being like really good at communicating with one another and listening to one another, I think is really like an important part of why our friendship blossomed, and not just our friendship, but also obviously our business relationship. Maybe she'll.
Okay. All right. So, you ladies juggle a lot: motherhood, business, and so much more. How do you personally balance everything while staying focused on the Prego Expo's mission?
I should say this probably for both of us is family life balance is really important. Juliana and I are sister-in-laws and
Love that.
our kids love each other so much. So like fortunately, we get together and, sometimes talk about work, but also have that family time as well. So just being able to balance family life, for me, it's like making a list every single day of things I need to get done. And my list is all work stuff plus all my family life stuff. And I just have to go through the list every single day and see what I need to get done. Otherwise, like, it would all get jumbled up in my head, and I'm a forgetful person anyway.
I would not survive without to-do lists. Like, I swear I run constantly making them. And how about you, Juliana?
Yeah, I think that definitely prioritizing is a big thing, and knowing what, some things sometimes I do just, as a business owner, as like you kind of work 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
But I have started to kind of remember, like, hey, I also have, my kids are super active and we have a
Right.
lot of activities going on. I try to get things done while they're like at practices or
Mhm.
they're, doing other things, but then also remembering that, if they want to sit down with me on the couch and just watch a silly show, like not to be on my phone and not to
Mm-hmm.
be in, like that email can probably wait until we're done. It's just making sure that I remember to prioritize
Mm-hmm.
and I, continue to kind of stay present in all aspects, in the
Yeah.
aspect at work and with my family.
It's so hard to stay present sometimes when your like business is on the computer. I feel like, it is something that you have to really be like, okay, I'm putting it away.
And sometimes I'll be sitting there watching, a show with my kids and I'll be on my phone, like going through stuff. And they're just like, Mom, like, you're not even paying attention. And it
Yeah.
makes me feel bad because I'm like, I'm sorry. Like,
You're
okay,
like,
I'll
I'm
put
so
it down.
sorry. So, Juliana, the Prego Expo has become a really go-to resource for parents to be. In your view, what makes it resonate so deeply with your audience?
Yeah, I think that one thing with Prego Expo is just the amount of education it provides, but it also balances fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when these shows, when you attend one of these events, I think that it's a really good balance to be able to come in. A lot of these moms or families come in just being a little bit not as confident because obviously it's a little bit of a hard thing.
Right.
So when you leave Prego Expo, we want families to feel confident and to feel like they stepped away with something, but then they also had fun. And that's why we really try to balance that kind of education and fun in one day so that you feel a little bit more confident coming out. And I think that has really, really helped a lot of families when they come through the doors and they almost feel a sense of relief.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, okay, yes, like I was scared walking in, but I had so much fun and I know I can do this. So I think that
Right.
that's just a really important and impactful part with our families.
Yeah, that's so important. And the fun, well, because everyone is scared. So having the fun is really such a great part of it. So, Samantha, since you first launched the Prego Expo, how have you seen it evolve? Are there any milestones or moments that like truly stand out to you?
I think our standout moment was when COVID hit because it was a really scary time. But what we did with the situation was we had created virtual expos,
Love
which
that.
was something we wanted to do before COVID even came about because we had so many moms reaching out to us from all over the country asking us to go to their cities. And obviously, we can't do that. So we developed a virtual expo before COVID. And when it hit, we just kind of hit the floor running. We went and did the virtual expos, not knowing if they would work or not. Our attendees and our sponsors were super happy. They loved it, and we still do it till this day. There were quite a few baby expos, parenting expos out there prior to COVID, but we were the only ones that really, stuck to our guns and kept providing that education and these resources to moms, not knowing if it worked, but we had no other choice. We just kind of had to survive at this point, and we didn't want to lose our babies. So we just kind of kept going. And since then, we've just grown so much
Love it.
every single year.
And I wish I knew about that when I was pregnant with my daughter. I got pregnant with her in March of 2020. I found out I was with her and literally couldn't go to any stores or anything. And it was really hard to figure out like what do you want, like what do you need, what do you want. So the virtual is just so amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so, Juliana, last year's Create Her event in New York City, it was such a success. So many amazing, amazing women there. What was really the driving force behind launching this part of the expo? And what do you think sets it apart from just the regular expo itself?
Yeah, I think that creator was definitely so we always had content creators that we invited to the shows. That was always like an important thing was, bringing in those creators, having we usually would have about 20 of them. So it was super ambitious for us to be like, "Hey, let's add a new layer to this and let's
Yeah.
bring in 300." Um,
Crazy.
so thankfully we have an amazing social media employee or manager. She is, young and she knows social media and that's kind of like her thing. And she had always kind of asked us like, "Hey, we should do like a content day and we should do," and we're just like, yeah, okay, maybe like, I don't know. But then the more that we talked about it and the more that the idea kind of really resonated with all of us and we were just like, let's do this. Let's
Yeah.
make it, and a lot of the exhibitors were telling us that while they loved having the influencers there, the content creators there, it was difficult for them to really, really talk to the content creators
Hmm.
because there were so many people at the show. So
Right.
yes, we had these 20 content creators floating around, but you also have 1,500 other people there, so it was just really difficult for them to really be able to talk with them and network
Hmm.
with them, and so that was really kind of the driving force for Sam and I to think and internally and be like, what I think we need to do like a content day. And a lot of it was, let's create a day that is going to create buzz for the next
Hmm.
for Prego Expo and for the other shows. This is a great organic way for these content creators to come in, network with their brands right there and then, be able to create really awesome content, and then be able to find some up and coming content creators, maybe ones that, are aspiring to have that, 50,000 followers, but they're coming in and they have 5,000.
Right.
They make such great content because they're the ones that are really, really trying to push their name out there. And that's where we kind of get a lot of our great content, to be honest, is from some of our smaller micro influencers because they're the ones that really want to set themselves apart and want to grow their following. We've met some really incredible moms that started kind of their content creation through Prego Expo and through the creator events and now are doing so many amazing things. I think that what sets it apart is that it's just a really fun day and it's a time for these entrepreneurial moms and women to come together and grow themselves and their brand.
Yeah, and it's everything you explained is exactly what it was. It was so cool to see, and like you didn't know if someone had 1,000 followers or 1,000,000 followers. I went up to Alice, who was the comedian there. She was like at the end. I saw her,
Mhm.
and that's when my confidence was up. And she was talking to Modern Mom Probs, Tara. I didn't know who she was. They were both so sweet and nice, and I just went. I was talking to them like, "Oh, let's get a picture here. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me back." And I was like, "Wait, you guys are like." Huge deal compared to my
Right,
following, and just
right.
everyone, kind of was like, it just was such a cool thing to have that experience to
And
meet these people.
that's incredible to hear because in all reality, we're all people, right? We're
Mhm.
all,
Mhm.
regardless of what our following is on social media, we're all still moms probably, we're
Right.
still, people. And so
Yeah.
it's great to be able to bring those entrepreneurial moms together and you have some that have been doing it for a long time and may have, 500,000 or, they're basically a celebrity like Alice Chen, like,
Yeah.
you don't
I know.
know. And it's
Right.
like, and they're all so welcoming, and that's the
So
environment
welcoming.
that we really wanted to create and nurture at Creator. Is just an environment to be able to build off one another and to root one another on, regardless of what your following may be or regardless
Mhm.
of, who you are at that time. So it's really good to hear that.
Yeah. And Sam, do you have any rewarding moments or feedback from attendees for that creator event?
Creator. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of what you're saying is super rewarding. We've had quite a few content creators saying, like, this is what gave me the confidence to really feel like, okay, I am good enough to reach out to brands. And
Mhm.
we do awards, and one of the awards is the Rising Star because we want to look at
Yeah.
content creators that are just starting out, because some of them are first time expectant moms, and they're starting their journey. And we want to recognize them. And one of them, I think for our LA show, she got the Rising Star Award. And like weeks later, she just blew up
I
on
love that.
Instagram because she was weaning her son from breastfeeding. And it was like this emotional journey that she had. And it was really fun that was like our rising star. And we picked somebody that was just coming out, starting her content creation journey. And she met all these friends at Creator that gave her advice. And then like she blew up like a couple weeks later. It was really fun to see.
Oh my gosh, so cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So, Juliana, pregnancy and motherhood, they're deeply personal journeys. How do you really ensure that every mom feels seen and heard and supported at your events with so many people there? Because sometimes expos, they can feel overwhelming and you're like, where do I go? What do I do? So, what do you think the key to that is?
I think it's having a good balance of who is at the events or what is being represented at the shows. We try to, obviously it was called Prego Expo for a reason. And sometimes we get a lot of, messages like, oh, I already had my baby. Can I come? And it's like, yes,
Yeah.
of course you can. Like there's something for, all stages in the sense of, you can come if you're expecting because you're going to find hopefully, you know, educators that can help you while you're during that stage. Or if you just had your baby, that's great. Or maybe you had baby number one and baby number one is about a year old, but you're thinking about trying again. We have different types of educators in different stages of of that place. So it's a lot of it is making sure that we have a good variety so that everyone feels like their questions can get answered. We even bring in like surrogacy companies because a lot of women don't know that there is something called secondary infertility where you were easily got pregnant the first time, no problems, you got pregnant, you're great, had your baby, and then you're like, okay, let's start trying. And then they're trying for a year, trying for 2 years, and you're just unable to get pregnant. And you don't understand why. And, you're probably going to the doctors and you're like, what's happening? Like, I literally, I snapped my fingers first time and got pregnant. Why am I not able to get pregnant the second time? Or maybe something happened and your body's unable to carry, a pregnancy. So we try to really bring in a lot of different things, including like financial planning, stuff that is kind of boring and you don't really want to think about it. But it's all really important things to think about in whatever stage that you're in. If you're, pregnant or if you're just had a baby or you're planning to continue your family, growing your family. So really try to encompass everything that you would need for all stages.
Yeah, and I agree with that because that's what I had. I already had my baby. So I was like, I mean, yeah, I'll go. That seems fun. I don't know what I'll get out of it. I didn't know. And I got, so much information and just like you said, yeah, I remember the financial advisor that was there and all different stages. So that's wonderful that anyone, even though it is Prego, it can be really for any kind of mom, which is great. So, Sam, we did kind of talk a little bit about social media, how you have a great social media person that runs your account, but it does play such a huge role in connecting moms. So, how do you kind of approach that to keep the conversation alive all year round?
We do a few different things. Juliana and I will pop on there and do some lives here and there. Our favorite thing to do is bingo. It makes people mad,
I love that.
and happy all at the same time. So we love playing games like that. But we also film like a lot of fun content throughout our expos, and it'll be like education. So we'll have like a brand show how to back carry your baby, or another brand show how to install a car seat. We've done like different things like strollers to consider for twins. So we are constantly filming and like thinking up new ideas and looking at comments from our followers on things that they want to see. And we're constantly trying to like put things out there for them.
Yeah. And it's so what, Juliana, what kind of trends and parenting topics do you think have noticed becoming more important or popular that you guys can share over the years, or if there's been like big changes? What do you think about that?
Yeah, for sure. Lactation is always a huge one. Just kind of, we've had some great topics when it comes to like pumping and going back to work.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times that's not really something that you're like, do I need to listen to a seminar about it? But you
Right.
probably do if you're going to plan on going back to work and you want to
Right.
continue pumping and, feeding and doing that kind of thing. So those lactation ones are always some of like the ones that are always packed. People love them. Some of the ones that kind of, tend to get not overlooked, but it's kind of like one of those topics is like any of like the postpartum ones. They're really, really like hot topics right now.
Mm-hmm.
The families really love and I say families because those talks are really important for anybody that you're going to kind of be with along this journey. Because a lot of times moms don't really know what especially a first time mom, and maybe if you've never dealt with mental illness before or kind of felt like those blues per se,
Yeah.
it's kind of difficult to differentiate between like what is normal and what is not normal.
Yeah.
So
It
it's really
definitely
important
is.
to have those areas where you include the family so that they can also be aware of perhaps maybe some changes in your mood that perhaps you're not seeing, and for them to kind of be more open to understanding as well. Those are always really hot topics. One of the hot topics that from like back in the day that I always remember that was always one of our like best topics was always like pediatrics 101, like how to pick
Mm-hmm.
a perfect pediatrician. Because a lot of the times as
Overwhelming.
moms, we think, oh, our OB appointments and our appointments and our appointments. And then you kind of forget that the baby needs a doctor as
Mm-hmm.
well. And it's not your doctor. They
Yeah.
actually need their own doctor. And how do you pick that? Like, do you just call an office and say, hey, I'm having a baby? Like, can you fit my baby in? Like, what do you do? So you don't really like think about those things. So that was always a really, really important topic, was just kind of like, what questions should you ask? If you go and tour the pediatrician office, what are some things that you're looking for? And
Mm-hmm.
those are all really important topics. And I think those are like three really hot topics that people really love to see and hear about. Because again, when you're a first time parent, you kind of just are like, oh yeah, I need this for my baby, or I have to have a car seat, or else I can't take my baby home.
Right. I
These are
know.
all
The
really
which, yeah, so crazy. I know. Like I'm like going back as you're saying all this stuff to like when I was picking with my daughter, and I'm like, how do you even like start with this? So education is very key.
for sure.
So Sam, let's talk a little fun. What's the funniest or most unexpected thing that's ever happened at one of your expos?
One thing is we have like a really funny MC. I don't know if you met him. Gosh,
Yes.
Eddie. He's like
Yes,
so
Eddie.
hilarious.
He's so great.
We love him, and he's like unconventional for, I guess, Prego Expo
Yeah.
because he's such a wild card, but we like it because all these topics are like so heavy throughout the day and can be overwhelming. So it's really nice to have somebody at the show that just is making you laugh the entire day. So even during these like really intense like topics about, bringing baby home, but then you have Ed here on the side making these silly comments and the whole crowd's laughing. But another thing that happened this year or last year in Salt Lake City, we had a pelvic floor therapist come in, and she brought in 3 costumes, and it was a penis, a vagina, and there was another one. I forget
Oh
what,
my gosh.
but they danced around the show.
I
They
think it
went
was
on
a
stage
uterus.
with Eddie, and
A
Eddie
uterus.
singing. So really silly.
Oh my gosh. I actually got to connect with Eddie the next time I go to Disney because he works at like the Nemo, right? I totally forgot. You're reminding me of that. We're going soon. So I got to like catch up with him if he's there.
I think my wildest moment with Prego Expo, I can't believe you didn't think of this one, Sam, was when we used to do a fashion show, and we would cast local mom models to be in our fashion show. And it was like always a lot of fun. And I was always the one that was like kind of wrangling them around and kind of
Yeah.
holding them like little kittens. And we had this one mom, and she was very small in stature, and you could tell she was like ready to have this baby. And
Mm-hmm.
her water broke on the main stage while she was walking down the runway, but she never told anybody. And so I get a text. So our show closed at 4 o'clock. I get a text at 6:30 from her with a picture of her baby. And
Stop
I'm
it.
like, and she's like, I was like, "Excuse me, ma'am, like, what happened?" And she's like, "My water broke on the runway, but I was having so much fun, and I didn't wanna tell my husband because he would have made me leave, and I wanted to stay for the giveaways." She's like, "So right after we were done, I went straight to the hospital, and she came, like, 30 minutes later."
Oh my
I was like,
God.
"What?"
That
I
is
love wild,
crazy.
alright.
That's an OG. That one has been
My
That
around
was,
gosh.
for
like,
a
the
while.
second year. It was wild. It was
Oh
wild.
my gosh. I love that. So, if you could create a co-founder's survival kit for running such large event, what 3 items do you think you should absolutely include?
Tylenol.
Wine.
Yes, good. And what's up any
I think so. One of my favorite things that Juliana said early on with Prego Expo, because I'm the person that's like, oh my God, we got to do this, this, and this. She's like, you have to crawl before you walk. She's like, you got
Right.
to take baby steps. So we always, we saw other shows and other things that we wanted to strive towards, but making sure that you stay true to what you want your business to be and that model to be. And as long as you are doing it great, you're gonna naturally just continue to grow and
Yeah.
be what you envision and then some. And I think that was the number one thing is we had to take it slow. We are moms, we had
Right.
a family. We couldn't, go to a job Monday through Friday, 60 hours a week. We had to, take it one step at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, if you could go back to the very beginning of the journey, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
Probably, I guess, just trust in the process. Thinking back in the very beginning, our first show was absolutely incredible. We had so
Yeah.
many attendees. We had a lot of exhibitors, just not a whole bunch of national exhibitors. And just knowing that we were going to be a success and just to keep going and to have that confidence.
I love that. All right. Well, you ladies have shared so much with us, but we need to know what is next for the Prego Expo and Create Her. Are there any exciting plans or goals for 2025 and beyond that you can share with us?
Yeah, I mean, world domination.
Love it.
Yeah, so we are taking our 4 best performing cities, and they are turning into 2-day consumer shows, which is a new kind of turn for us this year. So those 4 cities, New York, LA, Orlando, and Dallas, those are our key 4 cities. Those 4 cities will turn into 2-day consumer shows that will also kind of have that creator they will have that creator networking event attached to them. So not only will we do it won't be the full day creator, but it'll be a kind of condensed happy hour networking creator event at all 4 of the cities. That's kind of the big thing for 2025. I think our goal is always to just make the shows bigger and bigger and bring in more people. And I think that we've just been able to kind of achieve that goal, year after year. And now with the 2-day shows, we're hoping to kind of just double our attendance.
I love that. Well, that's a great place to end it. Thank you, ladies, so much. That is going to bring us to the end of another episode of The Running Wine Mom. I hope you all enjoyed hearing about the journey with the Prego Expo and Create Her event and the passion they pour into supporting moms and parents everywhere. So whether you're expecting, navigating parenthood, or just looking for a sense of community, this event truly makes you feel like you are not alone in this crazy, beautiful ride of life and pregnancy. A huge thank you to Samantha and Juliana for joining me today and for sharing their stories, insights, and even a few laughs. So be sure to check out the Prego Expo and Create Her, and I'll link all the details in the show notes so you can stay connected with their amazing work. Thank you, ladies, so much for coming on.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it. You can follow me on Instagram at @therunningwinemom_. And Samantha and Juliana, where can the listeners find you?
You can find us on Instagram at the Prego Expo.
Perfect. And I will link all of that. So thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, you are strong, you are capable, and you are all amazing. Until next time, keep running, keep sipping, and keep embracing the joy of motherhood. Cheers, and I will be back next Tuesday.